One is that Maliki, in the Middle East, especially in these nascent democracies, most people believe that democracy is getting elected and then concentrating power. It's not the second step of governance that, is a really big part of it, and being inclusive is important, and Maliki has not done that. I mean, he's, let's face it, especially over the last 2 years, has really been concentrating power more to him and more to the Shia majority that's there. So that's created a lot of unhappiness, if you will, among the Sunni population, and so you combine that sort of atmosphere with the fact that next door you've got what's happening in Syria, which is just creating sectarian tensions throughout the region. And you have both Shia, by the way, this is interesting, you have both Shia militants going to Syria to fight on the regime side, and Sunni militants going to Syria to fight on the opposition side, and they're flowing back and forth across that porous border. So the sectarian tensions that are there in Syria are sort of helping inflame what's happening in Iraq, but candidly, a big part of what's happening in Iraq too is because of the way Maliki has handled himself. So what's happened, where we had a population of getting down to almost zero Al-Qaeda folks in Iraq, it's now cropped back up to about 5,000. Well, the big decision for Afghanistan right now is, there's 7 corps of Afghan military that operate around the country, and are we going to enable them by leaving enough U.S. soldiers there, men and women, by keeping the number in the 9 to 10,000 range, or are we going to drop it so far down that all we're doing is enabling the corps that's right there in Kabul? And I'm hoping the debate is going to, these are not our guys going out front, it's our guys being embedded at the corps headquarters that are scattered around the country, and just enabling them to go out and do what they're doing in a better way. And I'm not supposed to speak to the number, but leaving a component of special ops there that are there to go out and do, the surgical counterterrorism issues. As far as the status of it, I think that we're going to pass a bill, and I think the House will do something, okay? And even if they do something really narrow, what happens is there's a conference that occurs after that. So even if they just do border security, or if they just do something relative to the DREAM Act, or if they just do something relative to STEM workers, really idiotic policy we have of people coming here getting graduate degrees in things that are really important to job creation, and then we tell them they've got to get out of the country immediately. So I think, if they'll just do something on one of those 3 issues or something else, then I think we have a chance to conference it and come out with something that's more comprehensive. At the end of the day, we said, hey, look, why don't we do a border security amendment on steroids, okay, so that no one could ever question the border security component. And it had multiple elements. One was you doubled the amount of Border Patrol agents. We've got 19,500 there now. You had 20,000. You have the technology that you alluded to a minute ago, $4.5 billion worth of technology, which, by the way, is the same kind of technology we use in Iraq and Afghanistan and other places, which, by the way, in places where we actually are effectively surveilling, where you've got 100% awareness about what's happening on the border. We had an E-Verify program, getting fully in place, which, let's face it, what's the major draw for immigrants into this country right now? It's employment, and if employers have to verify the people that are working for them are here illegal, maybe that's important. And I woke up and called Todd immediately and said, I cannot believe the president's coming to my hometown, and I'm not going to be there. I did have a lot going on that day. I had first of all, I'm the ranking member on Foreign Relations. There were about 20 ambassadors they wanted out that day, okay? And it I sort of figured my day job was important to do. They had ambassadors who, Lars just moved here, she got here in time for her kids to get in school. We had ambassadors that want to go around the world and get their kids in school, okay? And if it happened after August recess, that was a problem. So I had that. I was very involved in the filibuster solution. And I committed to invoke cloture on some NLRB folks. They were all coming up that day, and so for me to go to Chattanooga and not be around when I was part of a solution that was going to be coming up. Obviously, when Todd and I were reading the speech on the computer quickly to decide whether we're going to go along, we decided probably it wasn't something that was going to advance us getting to a grand bargain or us getting. And so the other debate was, does it make sense to spend time with the president on the plane? Does that advance it? Well, I was going to meet with him 2 days later, as I did, for an hour at the White House. So we just decided not to come. His speech, though, was not, bottom line, about advancing the grand bargain.